Something's out there. Something that forced its way into our world.
Yo, what's up? Welcome. It's Evil Alucard 13 here, and I'm excited to get this shit on the road. First ever live manga discussion. It's weird. I don't even know what to do. I didn't script anything, but I'm just gonna go with the flow here. Fuck it, why not, right? So today I'm gonna be talking about Super Gene. It's a manga. The real name is Super Gene, and I'll get into all of that in a little bit. I actually don't know the name of the creator of the manga. All I could find is that he calls himself 12-Winged Black Seraph. The story originally started on a app called Web Novel. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. It's an app where people can write their own stories and post them for other people to read for money. You get paid for people to read your stories, and this was one of them, and now it's a manga, and hopefully eventually it'll be an anime because this story is badass. I've already gotten one of my friends into it, and I'm going to discuss it with you today, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go through all available 159 chapters in one sitting. That'd be a bit much, but I'm going to cover as much of it as I can before I just don't want to do it anymore today, you know what I mean? So, we're going to start here. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory on it. So, actually the manga starts with the backstory, but cool. Go watch Bluey. You can put it in the pig later. Save it. Every single time that I start to stream, she does this. Every single time. I'm not even playing a game. She just hears me doing something without her in the room. She's good. Don't worry about her. She's good to go. So, like I said, Super Gene started as a web novel. The story is complete. The manga is recent. It's only like maybe 2 years old. And they don't come out with chapters that often. But we're up to 159 chapters now all of a sudden. I haven't really read the manga, but like I said, I know the story beginning to end. The main character, the protagonist, his name is Han Sen. And this dude, let me tell you what. By the end of the story, if you get into it, this dude is going to make Saitama look like a bitch. I promise you. A bitch. People think Saitama is the strongest in anime. No. They don't know about this guy yet. So, the question now becomes, do I jump right into the manga and leave the rest for you to figure out? Or do I tell you a little about Han Sen himself? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the backstory to begin this thing. And then I might go Wiki Hansen because he does have a wiki. He does have a wiki fan page. I found it last night and I was pleasantly surprised. There's a little bit of spoiler in it as to what he becomes. So proceed at your own risk if you decide to wiki this guy. I'll just go through a little bit of who he is and then we'll jump into the story. So, Super Gene. 100 years ago, humankind finally mastered the science behind space travel and opened the space travel portal. Look at that artwork. Every page of this manga is in color, and that's what I love about it. You don't get a lot of that. But what stunned everyone was that the other end of the space travel portal was an entirely new world. So, it's similar. Their Beast Ran Wild and Monsters Rampage. So, it's similar to Stargate in that they figured out a wormhole to go to these other worlds. The thing is... Ooh, look at that. That's so sexy, right? The technology and weapons that humans regarded highly completely disappeared in this new world. So, unlike Stargate, they can't bring their technology with them. They're basically reduced to the Stone Age once they go there. They can go back and forth from Earth to these planets, and they get stronger. I'll get into that. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but basically, they cannot take anything except clothes with them into this new world. And maybe, there's some weapons I think they could take. There's certain minerals that can pass through the portal into this world. There's something called Z-Steel, and it's supposed to be stronger than adamantium. So, look at that. I love the artwork in this manga so far. Let's see, this is them. They're reduced to basically like the Iron Age. They're fighting with swords and shields and armor like leather and chitin and all that. So as they were unable to close the space travel portal, humankind quickly fell to the bottom of the food chain overnight. All we could do was live under the claws of the beasts. See that? They were forced. So let me explain that. When they first got there, they were unable to leave. There was an expedition team of, I think it was 7 to 13 members, called the Blue Blood Corps. I don't even think they've gotten into that yet in the manga, but I know about them. And one of the members of the Corps is Han Sen's ancestor, Han Jinji, or whatever. I don't speak Chinese, so I'm probably going to butcher the names, but it's Han Jinji. So, Han Sen, his name is Sen, and Jinji is, I guess Jinji is his grandfather or great-grandfather. I think he's his grandfather. So it's only been around for maybe a century in his world. So, however, the humans' will to live was strong. It all started from the first monster eater. See, this dude is wearing like leather. He's got his hands wrapped up and he's fucking eating a beast raw. When the bodies of humans started undergoing earth-shattering changes, so they began getting abilities. Basically, there's different classes of beasts on these worlds. So, there's mutant, primitive, sacred blood, right? No, there's primitive, mutant, sacred blood, and super. There's a fourth one. Well, I think they'll cover that. But there's 4 classes of beasts, and each one provides you points. You can only get maybe 10 points out of a specific beast of each class. So if you find a beetle, you can only get 10 points out of that species. So you got to move on to another species. You get 10 points out of that species. And then as you progress, you can fight stronger and stronger creatures. And as a result, you get stronger and stronger too. Which is depicted here. This guy is, beefed up from eating a monster. they started hunting the beasts and stealing their souls. So they acquire abilities through these souls. After 100 years, so like I said, 100 years, about a century. After 100 years of never-ending evolution, humans have finally fused with beast souls. At the same time, they were also able to grasp the secrets behind their genes. See this guy, he's got like a bird-based beast soul. The beast souls can provide you a variety of different abilities, whether it be weapons, armor, mounts. Sometimes they're inactive beast souls that give you stat boosts. Or there's beast souls that can boost the stats of other beast souls, like a wearable armor for a beast. They have pets. There's beast souls that are strictly pets. And over time you can evolve the pets, and eventually I guess they become combat pets. But at first they're useless. So only through continuous evolution will you have a chance to survive in this dog-eat-dog world. You might even get a chance to evolve into a god. And I'll explain that in a second too. And this new world is dubbed by the humans as God's Sanctuary. Super Gene. So that's the backstory behind Super Gene. It starts off with Han Sen here, the protagonist, running from a bunch of people because he just stole some shit from them. He's an unevolved in the first God Sanctuary. He's working his way up the chain and he's doing it alone. He's not really part of a group. He's a solo act. He's only been there for about a month by the time this happens. And he's already ridiculously powerful compared to everyone else because of this armor that he's wearing. So, he's got this axe. He just killed a beast. Well, he snuck a kill on a beast. See, he stole the beast soul. He got the beast soul and the item from the beast. And they're chasing him. Look at that artwork. It's kind of at first. It gets better as time goes on. So, let me read what he says. Hi, I'm Han Sen. I'm an unevolved human. Although I've only been here for a month, but unlucky as I am, I've become a target of criticism. As for why these people are trying to chase me down, it's likely due to the fact that I stole the beast soul that they teamed up to obtain. Now, I know you guys at home will say that stealing something, then running away is something bloody ridiculous and that I deserve to be chased. But don't forget that this is a dog-eat-dog world. Survival and evolution is the only rule in this world. And just like the situation now, once they catch up, there's no way I'd survive. You either win or lose, it's that simple. But this bullshit is easier said than done. If I could live, why the fuck would I want to die? I don't want to resign to that. 1 month ago, Steel Armor Sanctuary. Before I entered the sanctuary, I yearned to come to this place. And this is Han Sen. This is my guy right here. I love this dude. He's such a dickhead, but he gets so powerful, it's not even, you can't even be mad at him for the shit he does. And that was why on my 18th birthday, the day I reached the legal age of restriction, I took the portal here. Is this the world called God's Sanctuary? Doesn't feel too shabby. However, I didn't enter the world because I liked it. God's Sanctuary was actually a dangerous place. You would hardly find someone like me, a fresh graduate who didn't enter college, here as cannon fodder. But my father suddenly passed away one day. My mother was also too weak to work, and my sister needed someone to help with her school fees, so I became the sole breadwinner in my family. So we literally just went to God's Sanctuary to get money. You could earn money by hunting beasts and selling their flesh. You could earn money by obtaining beast souls and selling them on a market. Weapons, armor, whatever. That's how they barter in this world, because some people are too weak to do it themselves. So the strong will go out and farm beast souls and mutant flesh to sell for a high price, which makes sense. I mean, all right, so there are, in the human world, there are schools and temples that develop things called gene arts. They're sort of like ninjutsu techniques, we'll call them, from Naruto. They're like ninjutsu techniques that specific families cultivate and perfect themselves, and they teach people those gene arts. Or you can buy the instructions to cultivate your own gene art. There's also weapons that can go through the portal. Like I said, Z-Steel can go through the portal, but they're highly expensive. Like, there's like one Z-Steel arrow is like upwards of $1 million. They're expensive. So you need to go into God's sanctuary, hunt, and make money. At the same time, you need to level up so you can hunt more powerful beasts to make more money and level up, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And as you progress, you can make more and more money, and you get richer and richer. Most people become members of groups. Most people who are rich in the human world will just buy their way through the sanctuary and not worry about leveling up on their own, which is a bad idea. But that's just the way it is. And as for a talentless high school graduate like me, entering God's sanctuary to earn money was my best choice. Luckily, in here, anything is possible. See, armor type beast soul. This dude's wearing an armor type beast soul. Something feels weird. My left eye keeps twitching. Am I going to strike gold? So, he sees the beast soul of another person and assumes it's a beast. I like the artwork. It's all colored, so it's like one of my favorite things about this manga is that it's all colored. Whoever does this spends time on it, and I'm not entirely sure it's the creator of the story that does it. I don't even know his name. He literally only goes by 12-Winged Beast and Black Seraphim, and that's all I know about him. But the story is so good. I don't know why he wouldn't come out and be like, yeah, this shit is mine. So he's attacking the beast soul. It's a wolf beast soul belonging to the leader of one of the groups in the sanctuary. So wolf beast soul stabs it in the ass, and it turns out to be her. As a result of this, they start calling this dude Ass Freak. Stabbed her in the ass. Alright, I'm going to try to pronounce her name. It's Qin Zhuan. I don't speak Chinese, so I don't know if that's correct or not. I went over this last night. Where is... Okay. So... yeah, so this gets right into the story. I'm not going to read the entire story to you. You can read it yourself if you like. I'm just going to cover some of the finer points, and we'll get into reacting to subsequent chapters. The manga so far is so good. They're calling him Butt Maniac in the manga. That's my one gripe about this manga so far, is that some of the names of things and titles and classifications have changed. I'm not sure why they changed them, because in the book that I read, if a book is what you can call it, online novel, they call him Ass Freak for stabbing her in the ass. So it's little things like that they changed, but it's not story breaking. You know what I mean? Nice little scene here of him surrounded. Pretty basic artwork on this group, but you know, some detail on Hansen himself. All in color, like I said. We haven't seen a black and white page yet. They all declare him their enemy, and he didn't mean to. He made a mistake, but he becomes a pariah after this. And everyone refuses to work with him, and this is kind of a key point to the story. In the beginning, nobody wants to work with him because of this event where he stabs Qinjuan in the ass. Qinjuan? Qinjuan? That sounds right. Qinjuan. So he goes out and starts killing the weakest beasts in the sanctuary at the moment, which is Black Beetle. See? And he's having a hard time even with them because he's so weak at this point. But he manages to kill a couple. And he reaches his max limit very quickly with the Black Beetle. But the next level up in the food chain is much, much stronger than just a beetle. You know what I mean? So, here we go. Here's the breakdown of Hansen's stats so far. And then, like I said, there's 4. Normal genes, primitive genes, mutated genes, and Mutagods is not the real name. It's Sacred Blood in the book. I'm not sure why they changed it. And then there's a 5th classification that at this point in the story nobody knows about yet, which is Super Genes. And that's why the manga is called Super God Gene, but the book is actually Super Gene. So they're called Super Genes. And that's how I'm going to refer to them from now on. They're called Super Genes. And they are by far the strongest creatures in the sanctuary. They are planet level creatures, to put it to you nicely. And that's just in God's sanctuary. In the first God's sanctuary, there are 4 God's sanctuaries, and then there's some locations after the God's sanctuaries. There's actually an entire 2 different universes, 3 different universes. It gets crazy after the God's sanctuaries, actually. He ends up owning a planet. He ends up owning an entire galaxy in another universe. Like it goes from terrestrial battles to cosmic battles very quickly after he leaves the sanctuaries. So, you know, he's sitting there thinking about how he needs to get more gene points, and he's poking at the beetle. He's thinking about how he's gotten fucked up by monsters along the way. Love the artwork still. Very impressed with it. And then he sees a golden glow. Turns out it's a golden beetle. Now, the golden beetle is actually a super beast. It's a super gene. Pretty sure. Yeah, it's a super beast. It's one of it's the highest tier of gene you can get, and nobody has any yet. Nobody has any of those points yet. But that's not the only thing about this beetle. Once he does kill, he eventually kills it. God's blood beast soul. So actually, no, it's a sacred blood. Sacred blood beast soul, sorry. So it's the highest tier before super beast soul. And it just came out of nowhere, and these golden beetles don't exist. This is an anomaly. No one's ever seen it before. And there's a reason for that, which is... I'll tell you that in a second. So, it's breaking down the evolution system right now, and I'll read this. Based on its characteristics and rarity, monsters are grouped into 4 different ranks: normal, primitive, mutant, and God's blood. Sacred blood. I'm calling it sacred blood. I don't like God's blood. And the Sacred Blood rank is the hardest to obtain. No, the fuck it's not. No, it's not. It's up there. But once you start getting Super Genes, Sacred Blood beasts become bitches very quickly. Sacred Blood rank Beast Soul. I recall only a handful of people in Steel Armor Sanctuary have them. So he's now one. He got the Beast Soul from the Beetle. And it is an armor type Beast Soul, which makes him essentially invincible. Nobody can kill him because nobody has Sacred Blood Beast Souls in First God Sanctuary. Only a few. Just a couple. And that's the leaders of the different groups. And then Han Sen himself. They're worth buku bucks. If he sells this thing, he would be set for life. But he also finds something else. This is the him activating the Beast Soul. It's a golden armor, and it's sick. I like it. Yeah. And not only is it an armor type, but it's an attribute boosting type. So it makes him significantly stronger, significantly faster, significantly more reactive. He is invulnerable to projectiles. And it hides his identity, which becomes key. Because he turns into a dickhead. And he doesn't want people to know who he is. And that lasts for the whole story. He takes on another persona, calling himself Dollar. And that's the first chapter. So, let me tell you a little bit more about Han Sen. Let's pull up his stats. Han Sen Super Gene. See? Super Gene Wiki. This is the book. This is the cover of the book. I told you. So, Sen has amazing judgment and prediction skills. He's 2 meters tall, so that's like 6 feet tall. Silky smooth skin, has been toned muscles, black hair, black eyes. Handsome. He has a ton of different aliases, and let me go through this. Ass Freak, Dollar, later Coin, but Dollar is his main alter ego throughout the entire story. Dollar. Doll, Win a Girlfriend, Jian Ran is my girlfriend, Black Fist Emperor, Emperor, Genius, Soldier, Kill Dollar. Southwest Soldier King, Heaven's Sword, Asscracker God, Coach, 10th Son of God, the King, San Mu, which is another alter ego that he takes on once he leaves the sanctuaries. He's either San Mu or Dollar to everyone after that point. Human Emperor, which is actually another significant title. I'm not sure why it's not yellow, but that's another significant title because there's somebody else who shares that title who ends up being actually the final boss. I won't tell you his name, but Human Emperor he's the original holder of the Human Emperor title. Dr. Sexy, Sky Sword, Lan Si, Light of Hope, Shen Ying, Son of the Moon, God's Daddy, Knife and Sword Master, Holy Baby, Prince Bai Yi. He takes over. He steals someone's identity, and he's a prince, and that's that. Godfather Han, Veer, Evil Soldier, Han Jingji, Successor, Crystallizer Alpha, which is also significant. That should be yellow. Crystallizers are a race that were actually very similar to... Who are they similar to? I want to say they're similar to, not in appearance, but like technology and stuff. Very similar to the Covenant from Halo. Very similar in tech, but most of their technology was made with crystals, kind of like Kryptonians. And their technology persists throughout the ages, and it's very significant to the story later on. Kin Kingdom's #1 swordsman, Little Black. I'm not going to read his biography. One of his abilities is he is a genius capable of copying moves while in combat. Amazing at archery and has perfect assassination skills. He has amazing judgment and prediction skills. Look at this list of abilities he has. Now, this is his complete list of abilities throughout the entire story. It starts off with Jade Skin and ends with Dongjuan Sutra in reverse, which opens up a whole and Story of Genes. So his main three in the end become Jade Skin, Blood Pulse Sutra, Story of Genes, and Dongjuan Sutra in reverse. And those four together essentially make him a god. I don't know why they call that God's Wander. It's Galactic Step. Yeah. So, that's a little bit about Hansen. I'm not going to go into... Oh, you know what? There's more to him. Okay. So, another thing you need to know about the gene point system is it adds time to your lifespan. Like, In Time. That movie, In Time, with Justin Timberlake. Time adds more life kind of deal. Life is currency kind of deal. In this case, your lifespan increases by 100 years with each evolution until you get to God level. Then it starts jumping up in leaps and bounds. So after demigod, you become a god, and there are several levels of god, right? And it goes from 600 years to 2,658 years as a god. But it doesn't end there. Then there's Deified Elite, Break World, and Universe Class. And that's important. Once you reach Universe Class, you are immortal. You cannot be killed. Your lifespan is never ending. No one can touch you. And eventually Hansen gets there. Universe Class. And that proves right there this dude is way stronger than Saitama could ever hope to be. And I'm not going to, break that down. Hopefully they break it down sufficiently in the manga. But he reaches Break World through those 4 Geno arts that I mentioned. Jade Skin, Blood Pulse Sutra, Reverse Dongjuan Sutra, and Story of Genes. And I just named all 4 of them. I wasn't even reading it. I was thinking that off the top of my head. But those are the 4 that he breaks through to become a god. To become Universe Class Gene Consumer. And then, another thing about his progression, see, they haven't broken this down in the manga yet, and I don't know if they will. It's pretty complicated. So, once you get out of the sanctuaries, all of your gene arts go to 0, and you have to level them up. Now, your gene arts retain their strength that they had before you got out of the sanctuaries. So, but that's the starting point. Their level reverts back to 0, and you begin leveling them up again. So it's like a limit breaker. You've reached your limit by the time you get to the end of the God's sanctuaries, and then now you've reached the point of limit break. And that's what the gene locks that you're seeing on the screen are. Jade Skin has 10 levels. Danjuan Sutra, Blood Pulse Sutra, and Super King Spirit. I'm not going to talk about the spirit. That's a whole other thing. And that is definitely in the manga. So if you read it, that will be covered. I'm not going to cover his spirit body and all that. But each level, you get significantly stronger, and it's akin to Zenkai boost for Saiyans and transformations. So, and I think the multiplier is the same too. So Goku's base is where he starts, and then Kaioken is 20 times his power. Super Saiyan is, I think, 100 times his base power. Super Saiyan 2 is like 10,000 times his base power. And so on and so forth until he gets to Super Saiyan Blue and Ultra Instinct, which the multipliers get crazy. And that's what the gene lock system is like for each individual ability. And eventually, so I don't know if any of you have seen, not Akame ga Kill. Oh, I was just watching it. There we go. The Daily Life of the Immortal King on Netflix. The Daily Life of the Immortal King. So they have swords that if you put enough of your energy into them, they develop bodies. Same thing with the gene lock system. Once you reach a certain point, your abilities actually manifest into a sentient being, and they get their own weapons, and they can act independently of you, but still under your control, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to go into Genocores and all that. That's later. But there's a lot to the ranking system in Super Gene. Boom. So, you know what? I think I'm just going to end it with the first chapter. That's, almost an hour in? Yeah, that should be fine. I know I wasn't wholly organized for my first one, but I'm like really familiar with the story. So I figured I'd give it a shot here. This is just the beginning. Everything I've explained is just the beginning. I haven't given you any real spoilers yet. And I'm going to try not to, because the story is incredible in its own right, and I think it should be experienced and not told to you. I would rate this manga so far as probably top tier. So it's better than Jujutsu Kaisen, in my opinion. It's better than My Hero Academia for sure. And that's all right. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Not that you give a fuck, but you know, let me justify those statements I just made. So I love anime and manga. I always have. I've been watching since the first three I started with was Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and Yu Yu Hakusho on Toonami after school when I was a kid. You know, back early 2000s, 2001, something like that. So a good long while I've been watching anime. And my favorites right now, my top 5, Black Clover number 1. Number 2, Naruto Shippuden. Number 3, Hellsing. Number 4, Overlord. And number 5, Vampire Hunter D. I know there are better ones, but those are my favorites right now. Actually, no. Not Vampire Hunter D, sorry. Let me reorganize that. So number 1, I forgot about this one. Number 1 is Black Clover. Number 2 is Naruto Shippuden. Number 3 is Hellsing. Number 4 is Baki the Grappler. And number 5 is Overlord. And those are my favorites. I don't care what anyone thinks about it. I don't care about comparisons to other anime. I'm not a mainstreamer. Naruto Shippuden is lucky is on that list. But it's a great story, and I'll stand by the story. And I'm not a fan of Boruto. But I'll watch it because I guess it's part of the story. But Super Gene is up there as far as story goes. It's right up there. And I don't know, I'm kind of a off the radar kind of guy. Like, you should see my list on Crunchyroll. It's a bunch of anime nobody's ever heard of. And that's where I'm comfortable. I don't go with the masses when it comes to anime and stuff, because like you'll see on Facebook in every anime group, everyone's arguing about the same anime. One Piece, My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen. They'll even throw Black Clover in there from time to time. But a lot of people underestimate Black Clover. Right now, I think Asta is probably one of the most powerful anime characters of all time. For good reason. This dude was able to reach light speed in base. So like, and right now he's bodying gods and angels. It's not even fair. But he's still not on Hansen's level, in my opinion. I think Hansen would kick the ever-loving shit out of him, and it wouldn't even be close. And that's just the way I am, and that's the way I've always been. Vampire Hunter D, I mentioned that. I've always been in the Vampire Hunter D. I own everything. I own the manga, I own the videos, everything. And I like the bloody gritty animes. I like I said, Hellsing. That's up there for me. That gets me hard. And Super Gene is probably the most underground anime, or not anime, manga that I've ever read, and I'm proud to be a fan of it. And I really hope it gets the attention of manga fans and anime fans alike, because it's a great story. It's original in concept. It's hashed out, very detailed. There's a lot of characters. Like, one of my favorite characters in the story is Wang Yingling, and he's so when you first meet this dude, he is being chased by a bunch of monsters, and Hansen thinks this guy is bad luck, because everywhere he goes, he gets attacked by every creature in the area. And eventually that translates into an ability that works in his favor, where once he gets past God into like Breakworld and stuff, this dude is able to control every monster on a planet. They do his bidding like he's their fucking god. Like, and he's one of my favorite characters. He's a goofy just comedy relief type dude until he's not. He becomes one of Hansen's most powerful allies later in the story, and it's hilarious to see the progression of this character. And I hope we get to that point. Like, I'm excited for everyone who's never read Super Gene, who knows nothing about the story. I'm jealous that you're about to experience this, and I'm here for it. So, like, leave a comment, hit like and subscribe. Let me know if you want to see more. And you know what? I don't care if you want to see more, because I'm going to do more reviews. Probably tomorrow. I'm gonna start speeding through this, so I'm gonna go from chapters 2 to probably 10, and then the day after that 10 to 20, day after that 10 to 30, until we get caught up, and then I'm gonna start doing video reactions to the new chapters. I invite discussion, I invite debate, keep it respectful. You know, just because someone says that they don't think this character can hold a candle to this character, or this anime is better than this anime, this manga is better than this manga, don't be a dickhead about it, alright? Treat each other with respect. I want to create, on top of my gaming streams, I want to create a community of anime and manga fans who can debate without getting at each other's throats and being assholes about it. Because I'm tired of that. The anime and manga community is extremely toxic. And I just want a safe space where everyone could go and debate in a friendly way. You know what I mean? So, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.